Alright, hope everybody's having a good one. Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator with Cookie Pirate. Today, we're going from Talkeetna, Alaska, up to Fairbanks in the Cirrus SR22. It is winter. Well, it's not technically winter, but effectively winter up in Alaska. It is quite cold. We're going at 21,000 feet. Should be about a 56-minute flight. And we're loaded up, set. Climb aboard, let's go flying. Make sure to pack your winter coat. Man, I've been waiting to come back up to Alaska and do some flights. This is a good opportunity for it. The weather's actually pretty good throughout much of the state, if it is a bit cold. Ooh, alright. Now look at that. There's a fair bit of snow on the ground, but it's actually not coated. It's just kind of a light dusting. Alright, we're loaded in. Let's go ahead and get set up here. Strawberry Jam, what's going on, man? Nobody can hear your screams in the middle of the forest. Oh gosh, this is Flight Sim, not a horror game. Well... Flight Sim could be a horror game, but I'm not going to let it become one. Question is, people hear people screaming up at 21,000 feet today. Alright, battery switches. Let that kind of initialize. Clear that. Repeato heat is already indicating required because the temperature is below 3 or 4 Celsius when it triggers. It is minus 11 here on the ground. That's Celsius. For those of you that do Fahrenheit, that is the equivalent of... let me think. I think about plus 11 Fahrenheit, like 11 or 12. Yeah, that's what it is, because minus 10 Celsius is 14 Fahrenheit. So, alright, CDI goes to GPS. And we can go ahead and turn the alternator switches on. That'll come on in just a second here. Let me cycle the mixture. About that. I don't know why it defaults to full rich at the beginning. It realistically... when you're getting in the plane for the first time, it should be idle cutoff. So what we're going to do, the boost pump comes on. We're going to go full rich on the mixture at this time. We're going to bump the throttle full. Now we're going to pull it back and cut. And then we're going to bump it just a tiny bit forward. That kind of just gets some fuel into the lines to, you know, ignite when the engine starts to get it to run. Alright, we have a battery indicator. That's probably because of the boost pump being on, but we'll get the engine started now. So, ignition, we'll turn the key back to both. Or forward to both, I should say. Clear left, clear right. The guy on the tug in front of us is clear. Alright, clear! Engine is started. Oil pressure's immediately into the green. The temperature is slowly starting to rise. Once it's up into the green, we'll be good. I mean, once we, like, throttle up to taxi, that'll help kind of speed that temperature up, but you don't want to take off until it's in the green bar. And that may take a few minutes, not too long. Let's go ahead and turn the nav lights on and the strobe lights. We should really do that before we start the engine, but that's alright. We'll bring the pitot heat on, clear that indicator. Maria, welcome. The only thing that could be scarier than screaming in the forest is hearing someone screaming in the... Oh, yes. Yeah. That's, Strawberry Jam. I love planes. It's so funny you say that. It just sounds like a simple statement, but I've got a viewer who joins my flight sims occasionally, and, his, nickname is I Love Planes. So, yeah. Alright, let's get the weather on the ground here at Talkeetna. Alright. Wind calm. I like that. So we're going to actually taxi down to runway 1 for a northbound departure, because that's going to be straight out. We take off and we're basically on path to Fairbanks. Clear skies. That's good. We should have some pretty good views today. Minus 11. Dew point altimeter 2973. That checks there. Let's see. I don't think we're going to be able to pick it up. Nope. I'm not going to look at the weather over in Fairbanks on like Sky Vector or the chart, but alright. Oil pressure is up to 71 Fahrenheit, so it's got a little ways to go. But again, once we throttle up and taxi out and do a run-up, we should be good to go. We just can't take off until it's at the green. I suppose while we're waiting let's go ahead and configure the autopilot. So we're going to set this 21,000, a little bit much there. Because the way this runs is you start dialing it, and then as you turn it more, it starts jumping at a higher increment. Some planes, they have an outer knob and an inner knob, and your outer controls how many 1,000 feet, and your inner knob controls how many 100. This just kind of jumps more depending on how fast or how much you're turning it, and so setting it can be at times mildly tricky. We'll turn the FLC on, and we want that set to 110. Excuse me. Not really worried about the nav stuff right now. We'll set that there. Okay, so what we're gonna do is go ahead and release the parking brake, and let's just start taxiing out. Definitely a bit chilly up here. At this time of year, I think Talkeetna is getting about 7 hours of sunlight. I think Fairbanks is getting closer to like 4.5. Oh boy. Well, alright, we got a lot of vehicles moving around. Oh, come on, get out of the way. Come on. Ah. I'm so glad that doesn't render any. Oh, come on! This truck's cutting me off. Oh man, just another day in flight sim, folks. Alright. So right here we're going to make a turn. And we're going to taxi down to the south end of the airport so we can take off going northbound. It would be cool if you did MSFS live streams other than just realistic flights. You know, I have. I've done, you know, messed around in gliders and, you know, the fighter jets occasionally. And I may do that sometime, but just the realistic flights are kind of my way of like keeping on top of. I don't know if you know this, but I've mentioned it a couple times. I actually have a private pilot license in the real world, but I just so rarely get to fly anymore. So this is kind of my way of like being able to enjoy that. Ooh, we rolled a touch far there. Alright, no worries. Alright, let's set the parking brake. Yeah, our nose is over it just a tiny bit. Realistically, you want to stop with the entirety of your plane behind that bar. Alright, oil temperature is up into the green, so we're good. Let's go ahead and do a quick run up here. Do the engine first. We're gonna... Oh, that's a little much. Pull it back to about 1700 RPMs. The engine is a little more responsive in the cold weather as well. Alright. So that's stable. All of our engine instruments are looking good. There's no warnings, errors, cautions, other than just the parking brake, which is normal. We're going to go ahead and do a mag check. So first we're going to turn it to the right magneto. That's a good drop. Let's go back to both. Good. Now the left. Good. Back to both. We'll cut the power to idle. and that helps get the temperature further up into the green. Now we're going to look outside the cockpit real quick here. Rudder is good, elevator is good, and ailerons are good. We can go back into the cockpit. Actually, we set the flaps to half and confirm they're down. It's good. Now we'll go back into the cockpit. We'll double check that when we get out onto the runway. Alright, parking brake off. Let's taxi out here. Ah, that light's a little bit in the way. Alright, let's get lined up on center here. Runway 1. Oh, that heading indicator is good. We actually got that pretty much right. Okay. I'm gonna turn heading on. FLC is on. Altitude, we're good. VNAV on. And we're good to go. Let's go full power. Engine instruments, we're good. Oh, yep, there we go. Cleared. Airspeed's already alive. .77 rotate up, and yeah, this thing is going super responsive because of the cold weather. Let's bring the flaps up. We got a good rate. Alright. Well, we're looking once we get to about 9... Yeah, maybe about 1,000. We can actually pitch up since our speed is higher than 110.
Engaging
Autopilot. And let's actually go ahead and turn the nav mode on. Heading is off. That's all good. And yeah, we got airborne pretty quickly there, which is nice. About a quick look outside. So this right here is Talkeetna, and the town is over here. If you were to go back that way, you'd eventually hit Anchorage, and then the way we're headed up is over the Alaska range, up over past Denali, which is going to be off to our left here. And these are the Talkeetna Mountains, I believe. It's kind of just an extension of the Alaska range. And back into the cockpit here. We're gonna go ahead and... Oh, that fuel burn is super high. So we definitely want to go ahead and do a cruise climb rather than just full power climb. So what we're gonna do is pull the power back. We're gonna go to about 30.5 on the manifold pressure. Come back just a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Now we're gonna lean the mixture until we get right to about 20 gallons per hour. That's generally your peak power, Richie's peak. And when you say peak, we're talking about peak EGT temperatures, these down here. Peak power is going to be a little bit richer than that. Beautiful. Right there. And we're just going to cruise and enjoy the view. -9 up here, so it's actually warmer at altitude than it is on the ground. And that does happen occasionally. Yeah. Alright, yeah, look at... Oh, no snow! What? Just look at that, and there's almost no snow out that way. Of course, all the mountains have it. I don't understand that. Alright, quick look outside. It's a beautiful view of some of these mountains out over here. This is the Talkeetna range. You get some pretty decent height. Peaks out over this way. Back there's the Matsu Valley, the Matanuska and Susitna rivers. This is the Susitna River, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check that on the... Yes, it is. It is the Susitna River. And the Matanuska River runs out kind of to the east. There's some pretty good-sized towns in that valley, and then if you were to cross the inlet where the valley stops, you would run into Anchorage. Look at that. It's just about 12:30 in the afternoon Alaska time, and that's about as high as the sun is going to get. So, don't have a lot of daylight up here. But you do get still a pretty substantial amount compared to once it gets to be late December, you're going to have very little sun in most parts of the state. In some parts you'll have none, and then in some of the really further south parts, you'll actually still get a pretty good amount of daylight in the winter. But it's effectively late fall, so... Now, if you look back this way, these are the mountains of the Alaska Range. Which of these is Denali? I believe that right there. This one over here, which is actually almost as tall, I believe is Mount Foraker. You've got another few prominent peaks in the area. But of course, Denali up at 20,320 feet. We're cruising, for perspective, we're cruising at 21,000. So, basically, once we get to cruise altitude, we're going to look off the wingtip, and we'll be just a few hundred feet above the top of that mountain. It'll look like it's at our level. Dang, the sky is clear. It's a little bit hazy, but yes. Yeah, it's beautiful weather up here today. yeah, Maria, because it's not summer anymore. Except some of that backward logic there. Snow on the ground in the summer, but then all the pine trees, like out here and stuff, are basically bare in the winter. Like, there's no snow on the ground over here. And it doesn't make sense. There is back there. But there's basically none up over here until you get to like some of the higher elevation. Alright. Let's go back into the cockpit here. 13,000 feet. Now it is minus 23. And the wind is pretty calm aloft. Put max flaps and see what happens. Aw, don't mess me up, man. You know what? Right here we can do it. Full flaps, and you know what's going to happen? Plane's going to slow down, so it's going to level the nose just to speed back up. I'm going to put the flaps back up and let it accelerate. We're actually not sustaining enough power to climb with full flaps, but at 110, you know what's going to happen? Is because 110 is the maximum allowable speed for full flaps. So all it's going to do is cause the nose to pitch down like it did. And that's partly because of the FLC. What would happen if we just let the power set and it wasn't trying to follow a speed? The plane would just continue to fly itself at a much slower speed, but eventually we would stop climbing and the plane would struggle to maintain level flight. Now if you're going at cruise and you do that, you actually rip the flaps off the plane and suffer some pretty serious structural damage. I highly don't recommend anybody try that. actually looking, it is pretty warm in the southeast of the state. Well, comparatively warm. It's like +7, +8. Alright, 18,000 feet, we can go ahead and set standard pressure. -31 Celsius up here, so that's -24 Fahrenheit. And obviously just continuing to drop. Alright, let's go ahead and turn the cabin heat on, just for fun. I mean, this doesn't actually affect anything, but for simulation purposes. Do you consider yourself an av geek? Not really. When it comes to planes, maybe a little bit, but I'm in the aviation industry, so it's just kind of what I'm used to. So it's different from being a, you know, an airplane enthusiast that has really otherwise little to do with them. Alright, here we are leveled off at 21,000 feet, so what we're going to do is turn that off. We're going to switch the... oh, come on! Close that. And turn... come on! There we go. Alright, that didn't need to be as difficult. And our power settings are actually... on point, so I'm going to bump the throttle up just a tiny bit. See if we can get that 30.5. Yeah. Pull back just a touch on that. There we go. Oh, hold on. There we go. -36. That is -32 Fahrenheit. Up here at altitude. And we've got about 36 minutes to go to Fairbanks. And oh man, look at that. It is clouded over. Come on. Alright, real quick, we'll take a look at the map here. Our route today, this is Talkeetna, where we took off from. Down here, this is Anchorage and the Matsu Valley. So we're crossing over this this ridge. Denali's going to be right off to our left here. And we're coming up. We're going to fly kind of over the upper side of the pass, over I believe McKinley Park. Yep, that's McKinley Park right there. Healy, and then Clear and Nenana off to the left. This is the Tanana River right here, and Fairbanks sits right there on the river. Fairbanks is the second largest city in Alaska, after Anchorage, and just above Juneau. And yeah, oh, that's the Tanana River. You've got, is that Wainwright Army Airfield? Fort Wainwright, okay. Ladd Army Airfield at Fort Wainwright. Fort Wainwright, okay. And then you've got Eielson Air Force Base down here. These are the White Mountains up beyond Fairbanks, and eventually if you were to go past them, you'd end up reaching the towns of Central and Circle, and then eventually into the flats of Fort Yukon, which sits right on the Arctic Circle. It's a pretty straightforward flight. We'll actually get some pretty good scenery looking at the mountains, as long as some of this cloud cover clears up. But this is a really easy flight. And this is showing we've got right about 33 minutes to go. Alright. something to keep an eye on here. It's very smooth up here, but we need to be careful because we're actually flying in the yellow, so we're above VNO. VNO is your maximum normal operating speed. Your ability to fly in the yellow depends on having completely clear, or not clear, but I should say completely smooth air. Any little bit of turbulence in this speed range could cause structural damage to the aircraft. It could bend a component or break off something small. So we really want to be careful. In fact, for good measure, what I think we're going to do is just pull the power back very slightly down to about that. And then what we should do is end up getting that speed right at the top of the green there. We're not getting much in terms of winds aloft, but because of our altitude, we are getting really high true airspeed. So that would really not cause our en route time to suffer much. So we just need to get down to about 163. And we can actually pull that back. Let's go down to 75% power. And it's also going to help out with our fuel burn. Yeah, there we go. And if we lean the mixture, it drops. And if we enrich in it, it actually peaks there at, peaks at 79. So, no matter your power setting, your fuel flow is right at about 20 gallons per hour. Is about your peak power. And actually still right there on top of the green. So what we're going to do is pull that back. We're going to lean the mixture out just a little bit for less fuel burn. So we're getting about 75% power. Kind of right there. Now take a look right there. That's the Alaska Range. That's one of the glaciers right there. That's actually pretty neat to see. Let's go out of the cockpit. Grab a little bit better of a view. This here, I believe, is the Eldridge Glacier. Kind of runs up to Mount Silverthorne, I think it is. Comes up there, and then Denali's going to be right over there. That's it right there. The peak is just barely visible since we have some of this high cloud layer. And if you turn back and look this way, it's just some additional of the Alaska Range and the Talkeetna Mountains out that direction there. Definitely a little hazy up here with some of that cloud layer, but overall the weather's pretty good. It's not too common that you get really good weather like this in Alaska in the wintertime. And usually when it is, it's really cold, like it is comparatively, like it is today. Cool view down here. I believe this is Alaska Highway 3. That's the road that runs from Anchorage to Fairbanks. And let's take a look at the map. There should be a couple airports around here. Nah, not quite yet. Okay. A little further up. That right there, Summit and Golden North. That there is Cantwell. This is McKinley Park, Healy River. What is this one here? McKinley Airport. Okay. Clear and Nenana up that way. We're not gonna be passing over those. It'll be pretty far off to our left. We'll probably be able to see them. Apparently a Turkish C-130 today broke up mid-flight. Yeah. Yeah, that's not good. Something must have seriously gone wrong with that. That's never a good thing. Man, I didn't know you were into aviation. Either that or I just don't remember it. It's been such a long time. Alright. Let's zoom in here and take a look around. Alright, yeah, that right there is the Summit Airport, and then you'll have, Cantwell. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky to see, but that might be it right there. Not totally sure. There's some pretty scenery over here, though. And then back out that way. Ends up becoming kind of not much of anything out that direction. Yeah, but as you were to go this way, that's when you're going to run into McKinley Park and Healy up that direction. Now we have a clearer view. Take a look at that. That is absolutely gorgeous. Look at the peak of Denali. It's really only about 700 feet below where we're flying. On that side there, you've got a few rivers and lakes. Okay. Let's go back in the cockpit and just check up on stuff here. So that's all about the same. We're getting a very, very slight tailwind component. Just about 3 knots. I'm gonna bump this just a little bit, pick some speed back up. We have a little bit more of a... Let's do that. Wish it was more realistic. So... there's a few things that you can do with that. I have most of the realism settings turned on. Not all of them, but most of them. Just part of that's for ease of being able to control. Because I don't have rudder pedals. I just have a joystick, so I don't do like the fully realistic rudder and stuff like that. Because it would just be so uncomfortable to actually hold the joystick with rudder input the whole time to keep flight coordinated. But there are a lot of things you can do. You can get add-ons, mods, and stuff like that. Like if you want more realistic ATC, they have Beyond ATC, which I've heard is incredible. Or if you actually want to get on and do like realistic pilot communications with air traffic control and stuff, with like live controlling, you can do like the VATSIM or IVAO network. VATSIM, I think, is far more popular in most of the world. And then, you know, that's one thing that I think Flight Sim 24 actually does a better job of. I think it is more realistic than this one, Flight Sim 20. And you can actually set like difficulty levels of going through the checklist and stuff like that. Like you can do like full hardcore mode, going through every single little... Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. I wish the mountains looked more realistic. Well, yeah, 24 does that better. And it's just a little bit of a different engine for the terrain rendering. But also, if we were to fly directly over the top of it, it would look better than this. My bad, when you said more realistic, I thought you were talking about the, just the flight sim overall. But to that point, though, that is kind of where Flight Sim 24 does a better job. And this isn't bad. I remember Flight Sim 10 way back in like 2006 or 2007. And, oh man, everybody thought that was the best thing since sliced bread. And then just to see what the Flight Sims today are doing is just, man, it's incredible. Hey, Digital Chaos, welcome. I love this channel already. I subscribe. Man, I appreciate that. I'll be back to check more out. I want to buy this game. So I have, so this is Flight Sim 20, not 24, but I have 24 as well, and I can give you my recommendations on each if you would like. I remember the first Flight Sim was like 2008 or something. No, it goes all the way back into the 1980s. So Flight Sim 10, which I think was one of the most popular, that came out in 2006, so that was probably the predominant one in 08 and stuff. But they go all the way back. Yeah, you're absolutely welcome. If you have any questions about either version, or if you want like a comparison of the two, then absolutely let me know and I'll be glad to help you. Is MFS 2020 expensive anymore after the release of 24? You know, I need to check the cost for 20. I don't know. I've had this for a while, so I haven't really looked. Flight Sim 2020. So if I go on the Microsoft Store, it looks like it still retails for pretty much the same. So like $59 for standard edition and the $120 for the premium deluxe. So that's the same, but I will make a note that the 2024 version is $10 more for every respective level. So it's $69 for the standard, $129 for premium deluxe, $99 for deluxe, as in like the mid-level version. Yeah, I'm glad to help. You know, these streams are just so much different from my Planet Coaster streams, because I would do a lot of cutting up, and I cut up in this game too, but this is, I would hope that you all can tell I'm passionate about aviation and flying, just with how much how much I like to get into this kind of stuff, and it's my goal to help people learn something when I do these Flight Sim streams, and I do something that not a lot of people do, because I usually try to do realistic, like, general aviation flights. It's almost always, and there's nothing wrong with this, but it's not my cup of tea, but it's almost always people taking the big jets flying across, across the ocean, or across, from one side of the US to the other, or all over Europe or Asia, or wherever in the world. And I like to pick some of these smaller airports and some of these smaller GA planes like the Cirrus or the Cub Crafters X-Cub is one of my other favorites, and kind of explore some of the lesser discovered places. But I also, just like to share a little bit of love for it, and hopefully you all would learn something, and I don't know, somebody may come around and be able to teach me something. I've actually had that happen, and I'm always grateful for it. So wholesome now. Yeah, oh, I'm always wholesome. Oh, Maria, yeah. You got it right, yeah. Well, at least I try to be. So. Alright, so the sun is behind us. It's actually a little tough to see the screen, but this is saying we have 20 minutes to go. So I believe we're going to be right about the halfway point. See if we can pick up the... Yeah, no, we're a little bit beyond halfway. The weather at Fairbanks is still not available. In there. Oh, there's another way we can get it. So, yeah, just... Oh, can't even zoom out the full way. Yeah, just a tad over halfway. So, what I'm going to do is click... Actually, I'm not, because of the time. The weather's going to update in just a few minutes. But actually, I am going to, and we'll just see what it is for right now. That'll help us plan an approach. Wind is calm, 10 miles visibility, scattered at 20,000 feet, and a few clouds at 500. So we should be okay to go visual. Temperature's minus 20. That's minus 4 Fahrenheit. And the altimeter 2989. So should be pretty good weather going into Fairbanks. And the easiest way is to just descend and take the ILS or visual to runway 2. That'd be 2 left is the main runway. 2 right is a smaller asphalt runway, I'm pretty sure. And then you have 2. I don't think it's asphalt. I'm pretty sure it's gravel in the real world. And they actually do have a lake for seaplanes. Now, as cold as it is, I believe that will have started to freeze over. So it could become a ski strip. But the thing is, I don't know. Because I don't know how long it's been this cold up in Fairbanks. And the thing is, if you have any ice, it's not likely safe to land a seaplane. But if it's not completely frozen over, can't support the weight of an airplane, that ice cracks and you can't land on skis, you're going to be taking a drink. So probably better just to land on dry land. Now, that's to say if you have an amphibious plane that can land on water and on wheels. Alright, I'm going to manually start a descent while we set the approach up. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to take this down just to 5,000 for now. And FLC on. And I'm going to keep that speed right about 160, and then we're going to pull the power back. And that should start the plane in a descent. Yep, there it is. And I'm going to target this power setting to maintain a descent rate of about 1,000 feet per minute. That's a little bit much, so I'm going to bump the power up just a little bit to about 40%. Right about there. Now, as we descend, we need to keep an eye on the mixture. As long as it's within this green bar, even at the bottom is okay, but if it falls below that, what we'll need to do is enrich in the mixture, which means take this lever and push it further forward. As we lean the mixture, we pull it back. When you enrich in it, it goes forward. I'm going to wait for some updated weather at Fairbanks, but I'm going to go ahead and program an approach. So we're going to set that and go with nice and easy, just the basic ILS-2 left. We'll probably be able to fly this visually. And to find that fixed glows, that's going to take you all the way out. No, not quite to Nanana. Yeah, oh, it's nice.
Run free and dive into the sky. Here the wind, crying
No, come on. Need to use the FMS. Yeah, there we go. Come on. And I'm going to hit activate. And yeah, look at that. It's actually telling us our top of descent is right about here. So we actually timed that pretty well. Keeping that speed. FLC should not have cut off. I'm going to keep it right about 160. But if VNAV is actually taking over, then maybe it doesn't need the FLC. We don't have an autopilot in this, or I'm sorry, autopilot. We do. We don't have an auto throttle in this plane, so we kind of have to manually control the settings. So what I'm going to do is turn that off, and I'm going to let the VNAV take back over. Vertical speed is off. I'm going to give this a little bit of a shortcut. So we're going to set it to that until we re-intercept. Press FPL to go to the next page. There we go. Do we have updated weather at Fairbanks yet? Let's just double check. I don't expect it will. Nope. Wow. Okay. I don't expect it will have changed much, but ever just in case. Oh, come on. No, we've got to descend faster than that to re-intercept. So we're going to take that out there. And we're going to pull the power back down to about 35%. As we pitch further down to increase our descent rate, we want to pull the power back so that we don't overspeed. Because we don't really want to be above the green. If we were to go a little bit into the yellow, it wouldn't be a big deal as long as the air is smooth. But I prefer not to do that if we don't have to. There are a few situations where you actually would want to go into the yellow, and they're pretty kind of niche situations. Man, we've got a really good turnout today. I'm actually surprised because it's fairly early. Usually get better turnout for my Planet Coaster streams, but hey, I'll take this. In fact, I mean, this has been fun. Might actually do another flight after this one. Might go down to Kodiak. Let's grab a quick look outside. Not a lot of snow, so it's probably just haven't had a lot of snowfall. Of course the mountains have some, but kind of down here in the valleys there's just not much. It's cold, but that doesn't necessarily mean there's a lot of snow. Oh, but look at that. That's pretty. A little bit better of a view of the mountains, kind of the silhouette of the bright sky with the sun. That is pretty. Man, this is why I love flying up in Alaska so much. You just get such gorgeous scenery. Man. I would love to be able to fly up here someday in the real world and be able to experience that. So if we look back out over this way, I believe Healy is back here. I think McKinley Park sits a little bit further back in the mountains. You follow that up that way, Lear is going to be off our left wing and just a tad bit forward, so maybe kind of about here. It's a little tough to tell right here because it's a little far away. And then where the river splits, I believe over here is going to be the town of Nenana. And then you would follow the river up this way, and it's going to run you right to Fairbanks. I believe that's the airport. It's still a bit distant and hasn't fully rendered, but I'm pretty sure that's the airport. And then the city of Fairbanks sits just to the east, kind of back here. These here are the White Mountains. You can just barely see a few peaks in the distance. That separates the Tanana River Valley from the Yukon River Valley, way another probably 120 miles beyond here. Among some of my favorite places to fly, like Central, Fort Yukon, Eagle, out that direction. But you just get some really beautiful scenery throughout all of that. Do we have updated weather now, please? Come on. It's minus 19 here at 11,000 feet. Yes, okay, here we go. So the wind is still calm. Good visibility. That low cloud layer has cleared up, and now it's just a few clouds at 20,000. Minus 19 Celsius, which is minus 2 Fahrenheit. And our altimeter setting is now 2990, so I'm going to go ahead and dial that in. We should have changed it when we descended below 18,000 feet. But not a big deal considering we're coming down. And it's only 0.02 off of standard, so 2992 is your standard. And so there's a 20-foot difference in your altitude with those two pressure settings. But that's to say I should have thought about that. Set it at least to what the original one was, and then we can just adjust it after getting the updated weather. But not a big deal. Pretty out that way. Oh, hey! You can see the moon a little bit. Kinda. Yeah, look at that. That's pretty cool. We had a half moon. Speaking of half moon, and I'm a cookie pirate, who likes half moon cookies? Just a random thought while cruising in an airplane, folks. Pretty out there, too. For as far north as it is, Arctic Village is actually one of the warmer spots. That's, if we pull it up on the map, is way up here. So this is Fort Yukon, and you would have to go all the way up to here to Arctic Village. It sits far north of the Arctic Circle in the Brooks Range, and it's one of the warmer spots in the interior of the state. All these other places there are very cold today, comparatively. I mean, it is nothing on what's going to be in a month or so. Are there sun or eclipse? Good question, Maria. I don't know. Oh man, that's funny though. Half moon, sun, solar eclipse cookies. I could probably actually do some sort of a solar eclipse cookie. I don't know. Minus 12. So there's actually what we call a temperature inversion. So the general rule of thumb is from the ground, the higher you go up, the temperature decreases more. When you have a temperature inversion, it's a pocket of cold air that sits close to the ground. And as you go up in altitude, the temperature actually warms up for a little ways. It can be a few hundred to several thousand feet before the temperature starts to drop as you continue to go up. And the good thing about temperature inversions is it means the air is extremely stable, which means you're not likely to have much turbulence, if any. I'm going to bump the mixture up just a little bit, enriching it. Go keep that right at about the bottom of the green there. And it usually is associated with very good weather. So, like sunny, clear skies. Now, the bad thing about temperature inversions is it can trap haze, smoke, fog, if there is any, stuff like that. But if you're not dealing with that, then it's perfectly fine. Alright. I need real quick to pull up the approach chart for the ILS into Fairbanks, so I am doing that on my second monitor. That's saying cross glows at 5,000, which is good. Now we're going to turn here, and we can actually descend to 2,600. So I'm going to go ahead and set that right now. We need to be at 2,600 at least by the time we cross this. We can't be below it. We can be a little bit above it, but you don't want to be too high up, otherwise you're going to have a problem following the proper descent rate on your approach. But I want that to lower, so we're going to set the VNAV is already on. So we're going to turn vertical speed. I'm going to bring that down to about 1,000 feet per minute, just like that. It's the airport there. Oh, that is pretty. There's a lot of pine trees, not much snow, but you can kind of see some of the tundra. Not tundra, that's probably not the right word, but it kind of looks like mud flats. And then some of the curving rivers down through there. Alright, we're going to intercept the glide path, which means our VNAV is actually taking over from the vertical speed, which is good. Alright, let's get the airplane configured for landing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go boost pump on. We're going to switch the fuel selector back to the left. We don't usually have to do that. Since it's been on the right for a while, we'll kind of let that balance itself out a bit. Minus 10. We're looking at that. It's got about just under 2 minutes before we reach that, and this is saying we should be on the ground in Fairbanks in 7 minutes. 1,000 feet to go at 2,600. And to keep our speed where it's at, we actually could bump it forward. But we need to be below 150 to go half flaps, which we'll want to do once we get kind of established on this approach course. So, looking at the chart, Silax, this fix right here, is where we're going to turn to intercept. That's kind of an intermediate fix. Cache, right back here, is the final approach fix, which means at that point we need to be slowed down to our final speed, or at least down to 110 so we can go full flaps at that point. Realistically, you could keep your speed a little bit higher, but I wouldn't want to. I want to get, set up, slowed down, and stable on the way down. So we'll do that there. Alright. Now we can lower this to 2,100. It's not going to let us cross that above 20 or below 2,600, as that indicator right there is said. We'll start our turn here in just a moment there. All the black is being taken over by green as we descend. We're a little closer to the ground, so it's just letting us know that. Zoom in a touch more? Nah, no, we're good right there. I'm gonna bump the power up just a little bit to maintain some of our speed. Oh, hold on. Oh, why is it doing that? It was supposed to intercept. Alright, hold on. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to turn the heading bug on, and it's going to swing us back around to that. Should not have done that. As the approach is activated, it should have automatically switched and followed that, but so be it. And we're just picking up that. There's the runway right there. We actually see it. We could go visual. Let me make sure nav it's off. So we want to set it on. Loc 1 is what we want to follow the ILS. So once we intercept that track, it should automatically turn us back. Yep. Well, it's actually coming alive. It's just going to pick us up and swing us into it now. That works. Minus 11. Look at the river right here, the Tanana River. That's pretty. And you get some of those foothills back there. We are picking up a little bit of icing, probably because of just some of the, not the fog, the mist. So what we're going to do is airframe de-ice on, and we're just going to turn it to high for a couple minutes, kind of let it burn off some of that residual stuff. The de-icing generally does a better job of preventing it than actually getting rid of a lot of it. So you kind of have to hit it early and then just turn it down to kind of maintain keeping it ice-free. I believe it's going to pick up that track here in a moment. Minimums are what? 9? Nope. 6. 639. Okay, so we're going to set this down to 630. Actually, just 600. Oh, come on. There we go. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Okay. I was about to say, don't you dare freeze on me right here on final approach. I would throw this computer out the window. Not really. But I would be very upset if it froze and crashed. But it's kind of stuttered for a minute. Now this green diamond here is going to descend. And once it gets to here, it should just kind of keep us on that approach. And the altitude to descend, we should be crossing over this cache fix at 2100. So we're going to pick this up here, 26, and it's going to take us down right to about there. And we can actually go half flaps right now. So let's do that. Gonna keep our power set where it is. We can actually lean the mixture about to there. Nope, descend, come on. Keep going downward. Approach mode on. No? Alright, yeah, so I guess we're gonna hand fly it. Alright, whatever. So we're gonna take that power back down a little bit more. Final items, we need to go mixture full rich. So that's all the way forward. That is on. Landing light is on. We've got everything we need. Still minus 10 here. The temperature's actually going to get colder as we get closer to the ground because of that temperature inversion. Curve back around here. I'm going to flying over cache, so we actually want to be slowed down to 110 now. So I'm going to take the power out, just level off a little bit until we get there. I'm going to actually level off a bit. We want to try to keep that green diamond in the middle. If it gets too low or high, then we're off course. Alright, 110, 109, yep, we're good. Full flaps. Flaps ice? Oh, when you have heavy icing, you can't go with full flaps. It has to be half. And we can clear it and turn the icing off. So we're actually okay. Now that power is right. And then we're just going to add some power in right here. Kind of get level back on. See, we got a little bit below our glide path. So the way to do that is just to level off, add some power, and let that green diamond float back down to the middle. Trim this airplane a little bit. Hold on. That's not trimmed right. Come on, trim up, trim up. There we go. That's a bit better. So we dropped low. As soon as I tried to adjust it, it snapped out of position. That's something I gotta try to program with this flight controller, the yoke I have. So we're going a little bit slow here. We really want to be about 80 knots. But where we're at is okay with full flaps right now. There we go. We're back on course. Not big on this trim wheel on this flight stick, but that's alright. Working on it. Alright, now we can take the power back out as we got a little fast. It does become a little finicky trying to maintain your proper power setting on your approach when you're making corrections. But as long as we're just maintaining control of the airplane and flying relatively stable is what matters. So here we are. Take a look right there. Look at all the trees and the lake and the river. It's pretty. Alright, still a touch low, but we're okay. We've got a lot of runway to work with here. Alright. Let's come back around over this way here. Come on. Inner marker. And easy does it. Take the power out and float. Oh, we kind of skipped a little bit there. There we go. Alright. Flaps up. Oh, we'd be looking pretty good right there. And we're just going to roll because we actually have a little ways to go before we can turn. And basically what we're going to do is turn up here, go across the other runway, and park over there by the hangars. I'll give it just a little bit further. And yeah, minus 19. Yeah, looks like the turn is going to be right up here. That's the sign that's telling us turn ahead. There's a, oh, hold on. That's it. Alright, what do we say, folks? Look at that truck. That just crossed right in front of us. Oh, man. These vehicles just don't behave. Can't believe he did that, too. Just darted right out there in front of us while we were rolling out. It's a good thing we were slowed down. And basically, we're gonna go out over this way. And we're crossing... This is the water strip, so it actually is not frozen. In-game. Now, in the real world, who knows? And then the gravel right over here. And then there's another actual paved runway. Oh, come on. These guys are just stopped waiting here. Yeah, Maria, that's right. Oh, here they go. Get off the runway! Oh, man, it never gets old. At least for me. And the fuel truck is just sitting there in the way. Alright. So we'll come up here and get parked. Well, I come up here and... yeah, we'll just find a suitable place right over here. This is the general aviation side. I'll have to reinstall my mods for this, or honestly, I'd probably get the Flight Sim 24 reset back up and everything like that, and start flying in that. Oh, we went a little far. Swing back around here, get a parking space. Oh, that's stuttering, holy cow. Come on. Stop! Alright, there we go. Holy cow. Just not responsive there for a minute. Alright, parking brake is set. Here we are on the ground, safe and sound at Fairbanks, despite a couple rogue vehicle drivers. Alright, shut down. We're going to do the fuel switch pump off. Mixture stays where it's at. Flaps are up. Confirmed. We're going to go... landing light off. We'll leave those on. First thing we'll do is cut the avionics. Nope. No, not the parking brake. Come on. I had my mouse right over the avionics switch, and it triggered that. There we go. Alternator switches, we'll clear those indicators. Alright. So go ahead and cut the mixture now. Alright, what did we say, like a 54 or 52 minute flight? No, 56, and so we made it in 54 minutes and change. So that's actually, we did a little bit better on time, which is pretty good. So we'll hit continue, we'll let the plane shut down, we'll continue through the rest of it. Clear those. Now we can turn the lights off, and we'll turn the key back to off. The magnetos are grounded and off. And all that is left is the battery switch. And come outside the plane and just grab a view. And there we are, folks. Welcome to beautiful, chilly Fairbanks, Alaska. This ain't nothing yet until the weather gets bitter cold in the winter time. Definitely a chilly day up here, so... yeah, hope you enjoyed the flight, and I might do another one here in a little bit. And I think I'm going to do Planet Coaster tonight as well, so maybe if I can come up with a relatively short flight to do, we'll I'm gonna jump in here in a little bit. I'll take a break and do a couple things first. But hope you enjoyed it. I hope to catch you all back next time. And as always, until then, take care, stay safe, stay off the runway! Could not resist. Sorry. And we'll see you all.